I want to try something with you today, something different from anything we have done on this channel before. I am not going to give you a list of tips. I am not going to tell you what to eat or when to sleep or how to exercise. Instead, I am going to challenge you. 10 challenges, 10 specific research-backed tests that scientists and neurologists actually use to measure how well your brain is working right now. Not in a scary way, not in a way that requires a hospital or a doctor or an expensive scan. Right here, right now, as you watch this video. And by the end, you will know more about the actual health of your brain than most people discover in an entire year of regular checkups. Now, before we begin, I want to say something important. These challenges are not pass or fail. They are not a diagnosis. They are a conversation between you and your brain, a check-in, the kind of honest, clear-eyed look at your own cognitive health that most people avoid, because they are afraid of what they might find. But here is what I have learned. The people who check, the people who look honestly and adjust accordingly, are the people whose brains stay sharp the longest. Ignorance is not protection, awareness is. So let us begin. Get a pen and paper if you have one nearby, and let us find out exactly where your brain stands today. Here are 5 words. I am going to show them to you for just a few seconds each. Your job, do not write them down, is to remember them. We will come back to them at the end of the video. Apple, river, candle, freedom, umbrella. Now here is why this matters. The ability to hold new information in your mind over a period of time is called working memory, and working memory is one of the first cognitive functions that researchers track when studying brain health. A study published in the journal Neuropsychology found that decline in verbal recall, the ability to remember words, names, and spoken information, is one of the earliest measurable signs of cognitive change. But here is the good news. Working memory is also one of the most trainable cognitive skills a human brain possesses. People who regularly challenge their recall through reading, conversation, learning new skills, consistently outperform those who do not. So hold on to those 5 words. We will test you again before this video ends. This one you will need a pen and paper for. Draw a circle. Inside that circle, draw a clock face showing the time 10 minutes past 11. Go ahead. Pause the video if you need to. Now here is what your drawing just revealed. The clock drawing test has been used by neurologists for over 50 years. It is deceptively simple, but completing it correctly requires your brain to activate multiple systems simultaneously: spatial awareness, planning, short-term memory, and the ability to organize information visually. Research from the Journal of the American Geriatrics Society found that errors in clock drawing, misplaced numbers, hands pointing the wrong direction, numbers placed outside the circle, can indicate early changes in executive function and visuospatial processing. A perfect clock, numbers evenly spaced, hands clearly showing 11:10, suggests those systems are functioning well. An imperfect clock is not a crisis, but it is useful information. It tells you which systems might benefit from more exercise. Look at the screen. You will see words appearing. Your challenge: say the color of the ink out loud, not the word, the color of the ink. So if you see the word red written in blue ink, you say blue. Try it now as the words appear. How did that feel? Uncomfortable? Slow? Did your brain keep wanting to read the word instead of naming the color? That friction you felt is completely intentional, and it is deeply revealing. The Stroop test was developed in 1935 by psychologist John Ridley Stroop and has since become one of the most widely used tools in cognitive neuroscience. What it measures is something called cognitive inhibition, your brain's ability to suppress an automatic response in favor of a deliberate one. In practical life, this is the ability to pause before reacting, to choose a thoughtful response over a knee-jerk one, to stay in control of your own thinking rather than being controlled by habit. Research from Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience found that slower Stroop performance is associated with reduced processing speed and reduced prefrontal cortex activity, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making and self-regulation. The more regularly you challenge this system through puzzles, learning new skills, even switching hands for simple tasks, the stronger it stays. Look at this sequence. What comes next? Your answer, and how quickly you found it, tells researchers something important about your fluid intelligence. Fluid intelligence is your brain's ability to identify patterns, solve new problems, and think independently of previously learned knowledge. A landmark study from Nature Neuroscience found that fluid intelligence begins a measurable decline in the mid-20s, but here is what that same study also found. People who regularly engaged in pattern-based thinking, puzzles, strategy games, music, learning new languages showed dramatically slower decline than those who did not. Your brain is not a fixed machine. It is a living, adapting, responsive organ, and it responds to exactly how much you ask of it. This one sounds easy. Starting from 100, count backwards in steps of 7, out loud if possible. 100, 93, 86. Keep going in your head as I continue speaking. The serial subtraction test, counting backwards in intervals, is used in formal cognitive assessments worldwide, including the widely used mini mental state examination, referenced in thousands of published studies. It simultaneously engages working memory, concentration, and numerical processing. Research published in The Lancet identified that difficulty with serial subtraction tasks can be an early indicator of changes in hippocampal function, the part of the brain most associated with memory formation and retention. How far did you get before losing track? If you made it past 72, you are doing well. If you lost the thread earlier, do not worry. Practice this daily. It is one of the simplest and most effective brain exercises supported by published research. You just saw 3 faces with 3 names. Which name belonged to which face? Associating faces with names requires the brain to form what researchers call an episodic memory link, connecting a visual image to a verbal label in real time. A study from Psychological Science found that difficulty remembering names is one of the most universally reported early signs of age-related cognitive change and one of the most anxiety-provoking. But research also shows this skill is highly trainable. People who practice deliberate name association, creating a mental image that connects a person's face to their name, perform significantly better on recall tests than those who do not. The strategy is simple. When you meet someone named Margaret, find one visual detail about their face and mentally attach the name to it. Over time, your brain builds stronger associative pathways, and the forgetting that once felt inevitable begins to slow. Here is your challenge. For the next 30 seconds, I want you to focus on only one thing: your breathing. Not this video. Not a thought in your head. Not a sound in the room. Just the feeling of air entering and leaving your body. Start now. How many times did your mind wander? Once? 3 times? Before 10 seconds had passed? Do not judge yourself. A famous study from Harvard University, tracking over 2,000 people across their daily activities, found that the average human mind wanders approximately 47% of the time. Nearly half of our waking hours are spent thinking about something other than what we are actually doing. And the study found something else. A wandering mind is consistently associated with lower levels of happiness and higher levels of stress. But more relevant to brain health, researchers from JAMA Internal Medicine found that people who practice sustained attention exercises, including focused breathing, showed measurable improvements in memory, cognitive flexibility, and emotional regulation within 8 weeks. Attention is a muscle. And like every muscle, it grows with use. Your challenge now is this. In 60 seconds, name as many animals as you can. Say them out loud or write them down. Go. How many did you name? Here is what the research says. Naming fewer than 14 animals in 60 seconds has been identified in multiple studies as a potential indicator of reduced verbal fluency, a cognitive skill strongly connected to language processing and semantic memory. Naming between 14 and 22 suggests healthy cognitive function. Above 22 places you in the high-performing range. The verbal fluency test, formerly known as the category fluency test, is used in neurological assessments at institutions including the Mayo Clinic and the Cleveland Clinic. It measures how efficiently your brain can access and retrieve stored information under mild time pressure. People who read regularly, engage in conversation daily, and continue learning new vocabulary consistently outperform those who do not, regardless of age. This challenge works differently from the others. I am going to describe a situation, and I want you to notice, honestly, what happens inside you as you hear it. Here is the situation. You are in a long line at a pharmacy. You have been waiting for 20 minutes. The person at the counter is taking a very long time. People behind you are sighing and shifting, and then the pharmacist looks up and says, "I am sorry, our system just went down. It could be another 30 minutes. What do you feel in your body right now? Just notice it. Frustration? Acceptance? Immediate problem solving? Irritability? Calm? Here is why this matters for brain health. Research from Stanford University's Center on Longevity found that emotional regulation, the ability to manage emotional responses in stressful situations, is one of the strongest predictors of cognitive resilience as we age. People with strong emotional regulation show better memory retention, better decision-making, and lower rates of dementia progression. And here is the remarkable part. Of all the cognitive skills we have tested today, emotional regulation shows the most consistent improvement with age in healthy individuals. People over 60 who have worked on emotional awareness often regulate better than people 30 years younger. Your life experience is not just wisdom, it is neurological protection. Do you remember them? The 5 words from the very beginning of this video. No looking back, just you and your memory. Take a moment. How many did you get? Remembering all 5 after a full video of information and challenges suggests strong delayed recall and working memory. 4 out of 5 is excellent. 3 is solid. 2 or fewer. Your recall may benefit from daily practice. The science behind delayed recall is striking. A long-term study from the New England Journal of Medicine tracking over 700 adults found that people who engaged in mentally stimulating activities at least 3 times a week had a 47% lower risk of developing dementia than those who did not. Not 47% less severe, 47% lower risk. The activities did not need to be complex. Reading, doing puzzles, learning something new, having a real conversation about a real topic. Just consistent, just regular, just intentional. 10 challenges, 10 windows into the most extraordinary organ in your body. And here is what I want you to take from today. Your brain is not a fixed thing. It is not set in stone at a certain age. It is not quietly failing while you wait for the inevitable. It is a living, adapting, hungry organ that responds, directly and measurably, to how much you ask of it. Every challenge you just completed was not just a test, it was exercise. Your brain worked during every single one of them. And if you come back tomorrow and work it again, and the day after, and the day after, it will grow stronger. Not younger, not exactly as it was at 30, but stronger than it was yesterday. And that quiet, consistent daily decision to keep challenging yourself is the most powerful thing any human being can do for their brain health. Not a supplement, not a scan, not a prescription, just the decision to stay curious, stay challenged, stay in the conversation with your own extraordinary mind. Share this video with someone whose brain you love, a parent, a friend, a partner. Because the greatest gift you can give someone is not a tip or a trick. It is a reason to take their own health seriously. This was that reason.